tell stories? Do you enjoy gossiping about which celebrities are dating each other? Do you chat with your friends about your other friends? Or do you just enjoy reading books and magazines? If you said yes to any of the above questions, you need to learn English reported speech. Reported speech might sound fancy, but it isn't that complicated. It's just how you talk about what someone said. Luckily, it's pretty simple to learn the basics in English. Let's get started. Before we go over what reported speech is and how exactly it works, let's look at where you can find and learn about it in the real world. One of the most common uses for reported speech is in fiction. You'll find plenty of reported speech in novels and short stories. Look for books that have long sections of text with dialogue marked by quotation marks. Once you understand the different kinds of reported speech, you can look for it in your reading and use it in your own writing. Writing your own stories is a great way to get even better at understanding reported speech. Celebrity profiles, which you can find in print magazines and online, can help you find and practice reported speech too. Celebrity profiles are stories that focus on a famous person. They often include some kind of interview. The writer will usually spend some time describing the person and then mention things that they say. This is when they use reported speech. Because many of these profiles are written in a present tense, they can help you get used to the basics of reported speech without having to worry too much about different verb tenses. Direct speech refers to the exact words that a person says. You can report direct speech in a few different ways. To see how this works, let's pretend that I, Elizabeth, told some people that I like green onions. Here are some different ways that those people could explain what I said. I like green onions. Elizabeth said, I like green onions. She told me. In this sentence, we replace my name Elizabeth with the pronoun she. I like green onions. Elizabeth explained. In all of these examples, the part that was said is between quotation marks and is followed by a noun she or Elizabeth and a verb. Each of these verbs, to say, to tell, someone, to explain, are ways to describe someone talking. You can use any verb that refers to speech in this way. You can also put the noun and verb before what was said. Elizabeth said, I like spaghetti. She replied, I like spaghetti. Elizabeth clarified, I like spaghetti. She yelled, no, I don't like green onions, I like spaghetti. The examples above would be much more likely to be said out loud than the first set of examples. Here's a conversation that might happen between two people. Did you ask her if she liked coffee? Yeah, I asked her. What did she say? She said, yeah, I like coffee. Usually, reported of direct speech is something you see in writing. It doesn't happen as often when people are talking to each other. However, if you do use it in conversation, it sounds more natural to put the noun and verb before the direct quote, like in the example above. You can also use reported speech when the speech is a question. Nothing really changed in this case, except that the verbs you use might be different. For example, what did she say? I asked. Did you ask her if she likes coffee? He wondered. Direct reported speech often happens in the past. However, there are all kinds of stories including journalism pieces, profiles and fiction where you might see speech reported in the present as well. This is sometimes done when the author of the piece wants you to feel that you're experiencing events in the present moment. For example, a profile of Kristen Stewart in Vanity Fair has a funny moment that describes how the actress isn't a very good swimmer. "I don't want to enter the water ever," she says. "If everyone's going in the ocean, I'm like, no." Here, the speech is reported as though it's in the present tense. She says, instead of the past, she said. Note that here there is actually an example of direct speech inside of direct speech. I'm like, no. I'm writing of all kinds. Direct reported speech is often split into two or more parts as it is above. Here is an example from Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, where the speech is even more split up. "I won't indeed," said Alice in a great hurry to change the subject of conversation. Are you fond of dogs?" The mouse did not answer, so Alice went on eagerly. "There is such a nice little dog near our house. I should like to show you." Reporting in direct speech is what happens when you explain what someone said without using their exact words. Let's start with an example of direct reported speech like those used above. Elizabeth said, "I like coffee." As in direct reported speech, it looks like this. Elizabeth said she liked coffee. You can see that the subject "I" has been changed to "she" to show who is being spoken about. If I'm reporting the direct speech of someone else and this person says I'd repeat the sentence exactly as they said it. If I'm reporting this person's speech indirectly to someone else, however, I'd speak about them in the third person using she, he, or they. You may also notice that the tense changed here. If "I like coffee" is what she said. This can become "she liked coffee" in indirect speech. However, you might just as often hear someone say something like "she said she likes coffee." This still usually makes sense if you're talking about something that's continuing to happen. Since people's likes and preferences tend to change over time and not right away, it makes sense to keep them in the present tense.